One of the big changes in the last 25 years are diets. In 1994, the low-fat diet was big. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Yes, we all do. We were hearing that fat in foods was making us fat, so low-fat milk, dairy products, lots of processed foods, they became staples in the American diet. Now, 25 years later, things are changing once again, and people are eating with a little bit more healthier with the advent of the keto diet, paleo as well. Those are becoming more popular. So we decided to bring in Stephanie Espinoza, who's a registered dietitian, to talk about some of the changes in the last 25 years.
Steph, it is funny to think about that. I mean,
yeah, it's my whole career, you know, watching us go from the low-fat craze now into keto and really more healthful foods are on the horizon for us. People are, that's what's trending is kale and clean eating and plant-based diets.
Well, we overreact a lot, it seems like. So we decide that we want to be afraid of something, so afraid of fat, but we forget that that means a spike in maybe sugar or sodium to get that. So let's look at what you brought, because did you bring some kind of like before and afters?
I did. I'd like to start over on that end. Really in the 90s with the low-fat craze, another craze happened, and that was one of convenience. So you see everything is pre-packaged. We've got Hot Pockets, we've got Lunchables, you know, high sodium, a lot of processed foods there. Gushers, that was my kid's favorite, but lots of sugar. The 90s brought lots of sugar. It took out the fat, replaced it with sugar. And it really is starting to show up in our health. And 6 in 10 Americans have a chronic disease, and 7 in 10 of us are overweight or obese. So it really has impacted our health in a negative way.
You know, on that note, you know, you talk about low fat. I remember eating a ton of pasta. And now you think about celiac disease and how that really has kind of blown up here in America. Talk about those trends and how, like you said, you talked about chronic disease and how much more we're seeing that.
Well, what we saw in our diet over the last 25 years is just imbalance, right? The fat goes down, the sugar goes up, the processing goes up to remove fat naturally from products. And so that just gives us more processed foods, which is chemicals and dyes and things like that that are disrupting our cellular processes in our body.
The simpler the better. What stage are we here?
So right here in the middle, we've got the 2000s and the do you remember the cupcake? Like everybody bringing cupcakes to work. Bacon became really big. That hasn't gone away either. You know, you still have your low-fat milk in the 2000s. What I find interesting, do you remember Snackwells?
Yes.
They actually overtook Oreos in the 90s and 2000s. But I'm still buying them, so they haven't gone out of vogue yet. I bought them for this.
So now we're coming into what people are doing now. We've learned a lot. What style are we embracing in terms of food?
So what I find interesting is the multivitamin was really popular in the 90s and 2000s, but we're seeing food as our multivitamins now. More nuts and seeds.
Food is medicine, as
Food
they
is
say.
medicine. Your greens, mushrooms, very healthy. Just more, more produce, kale, berries. Those are all very, very healthy for our bodies. And this is a multivitamin versus this. And they find that our body doesn't assimilate a synthetic product as well as it does the nutrients from your food.
So you brought back the regular old butter. Just keeping it simple.
Interesting. And quickly though, do you see the food industry shifting as well?
I do see a shift, and people are asking more questions. You know, when you go online, there's lots of talk about plant-based eating, which makes me very happy, because that's what's going to keep us healthy.
Stephanie Espinoza, thank you so much. How do people get a hold of you?
The nutrition professionals. You can Google us or nutritionpro.net.
All right, thank you so much.
Thanks, Steph.
We're going to eat this side, right?
Okay, that side, yes.
I don't know, those
we might leave
Snackwells
this
are
to
calling
Scotty.
me. Bacon.
We'll cook it in butter.